We are used to thinking that the history of humanity is a ladder leading strictly upwards, that our ancestor from the Stone Age was, to put it mildly, a bit dim, a wild creature with a club, and that we are the crown of creation. After all, we have smartphones, vaccines, and pizza delivery. But let's conduct a thought experiment. Let's take an average modern person, for example, a sales manager, or even an IT specialist. Let's take away his gadgets and drop him in a forest of the Paleolithic era, naked. How long will he last? 2 days? 3? Exactly until he gets thirsty and drinks water from a puddle filled with bacteria. Or until he decides to pet a cute dog. That turns out to be a wolf. Now look at his ancestor. The ancient hunter-gatherer was a true genius, a walking encyclopedia. To survive, he had to keep a map of a territory the size of a small country in his head. He knew the habits of hundreds of beasts, the properties of thousands of plants. He knew how to heal fractures, sew clothes, build shelters, and make weapons out of stone. He was a human Swiss Army knife, a universalist. His brain worked at 100% because he had no right to make a mistake. He was absolutely autonomous. But then happened what we call progress. People invented agriculture, settled in one place, and there were too many of them. Villages turned into cities, and a city is a complex machine. In a city, it is impossible to be good at everything at once. You cannot bake bread in the morning, forge swords in the afternoon, treat the sick in the evening, and guard the walls at night. If you do everything at once, you will do it badly. And a bad sword or rotten bread means death for the whole city. And then, humanity made a choice in favor of efficiency. We invented specialization. At this moment, a new type of human steps onto the historical stage, the narrow specialist. Or, if we drop the politeness, the professional idiot. Imagine an ancient potter. All his life, he does nothing but knead clay. His hands have become the perfect tool for sculpting. He knows everything about firing temperatures, but he paid a terrible price for this. He no longer knows what wheat looks like in the field. He cannot read tracks in the forest. He probably doesn't even know how to fight. His world has shrunk to the size of a potter's wheel. He makes the best jugs in the world, but as an individual capable of survival, he has degraded. If tomorrow the demand for jugs falls, or a famine begins, he is helpless. This was a grand turning point. We began, essentially, to outsource our survival. We signed an unspoken contract. I stopped thinking about food, let the farmer think about that. I stopped thinking about safety, let the soldier think about that. I stopped thinking about laws, let the judge think about that. And I will, well, for example, drill little holes in beads. Sounds convenient, right? But think about how this changed us. The hunter was free as the wind. The man of civilization became dependent, like an infant. We tied ourselves with invisible threads. The peasant will not survive without the blacksmith. The blacksmith will die without the soldier without the king, and the king without all of them. It was then that people appeared who stopped producing anything material at all. Bureaucrats, scribes, lawyers, people working not with things, but with symbols. This created an amazing paradox of history. The collective brain of humanity began to grow, while the individual brain began to shrink. Society as a whole was becoming smarter. We learned to build pyramids, dig canals, predict eclipses, but the individual person was becoming more and more of a limited cog. The builder of the pyramid did not know architecture. He only knew how to pull a rope. The soldier did not know strategy. He only knew how to thrust with a spear. We ceased to be a pack of wolves, where every man is for himself. We turned into an anthill, into a gigantic, complex hive, where everyone performs one tiny function without even understanding the grand design. Why did we agree to this? Why did we trade freedom and universality for the role of a cog? The answer is simple. It gave us reliability and time. While the peasant feeds society, the blacksmith has free time to invent the wheel. The priest has time to invent writing. Specialization became the engine of progress. If each of us were still forced to catch our own lunch and sew pants out of hide, we simply would not have had the time to invent antibiotics, the internet, and spaceflight. We traded independence for the greatness of the species. The ancient human was a lonely computer, powerful but isolated. We became a neural network. Each of us is just a tiny neuron. Individually, we are weak, stupid, and helpless. But billions of us, connected by trade, laws, and the internet, create the most powerful force on the planet. We are the kings of nature. But kings are very fragile, because sometimes, sitting in a warm office or a cozy apartment, we feel this vague fear. We realize that all our power rests on the fact that the system works. We depend on an electrician we have never seen, on a farmer living thousands of kilometers away, on a programmer who wrote the code for the banking system, and one only needs to flip the switch. One only needs the system to fail, and we instantly turn into lost children who dream of becoming that wild hunter again, who knew how to survive in the forest. It is just a pity that we lost the instruction manual for survival about 10,000 years ago.